So I'd like to share the importance of recognizing that there are many parts inside of us. A lot of us are running a script believing that there's a mono version of us, like that there's one version of Maggie and this is who Maggie is. In fact, there are thousands of parts that have contradictions within all of us. So the power of recognizing parts and separating parts out when something arises, when you get triggered, it's really important to be able to kind of separate out parts, because very often if there's a conflict, you will get stuck where you just can't understand what's happening. So I'll give an example that happened to me this morning. My neighbour started playing music quite loudly. And I could feel this inner child, you could call it, or an inner part in me that wanted to start playing my own music louder. And it didn't come from a place of heart opening. It came from a place of wounding. And there was a destructive energy in it. I wanted to hurt them back. So if I stayed at that top level, I would never be able to get to the truth of what was going on. So instead, I parked that part that wanted to, that had a victimization energy in it, and therefore wants to get the power back by projecting and returning the energy. Yeah, so it comes from a place of victim. So I moved that part to the side and I started meditating, and I started feeling into my body, why was I so aggravated by the sound coming from my neighbor's place? And what I found was another part inside of me. Now, when I grew up as a child, my mother wasn't musical, and yet my father was highly musical. And I would have demonstrated and started showing a natural ability with music. So my mother's relationship with my father probably wasn't in the best place when I was a small child. So when I started playing the tin whistle or singing, my mother would condone me for making noise and like stop making that racket. And especially if I played the tin whistle, it literally drove her insane. Her nervous system was so aggravated by her young little daughter playing and making sound and making music. Unconsciously, I'm sure it was a pain directing to my father. So that would have hurt a part of me. So this part that became hurt, another part would have broken off to kind of go, I'll be that protector. So I'll become the internal critic who will say, don't be making that sound, don't be making noise, don't be making racket. So when I hear my neighbours making noise this morning, that protector part is really aggravated. And it has the sentences of, don't be making sound, don't be making a racket, don't be making noise. So I therefore was able to sit with that part, let it know that it's running in a loop back in the 80s, and letting it know that it's safe now, that we don't have a mother that's going to chastise us for making noise anymore, and that maybe it's okay to make the noise. So I embody that part and I let it know it's okay if people make noise. No one is going to get a hurt because of it anymore. And then that protector part can start updating with 2023 energy. I then asked that protector to show me the part that it's protecting. So we're trying to find the part that is deeper in me, that's hidden, that was traumatized by being chastised as a child. And then I meet that part who is hurt, and we just hold her, we keep her safe, and we let her know that she did nothing wrong, and we let her know that it's safe for her to be herself now. In that case, I always check for soul parts fragmented, and we bring the soul parts back in. So when that part feels better, when the protector part knows that it can downgrade that role and not have an internal dialogue of, you're not allowed to make noise, you're not allowed to make a racket, it's safe now to make sound, it's not bad to make sound, that part can soften. And then we need to introduce the victimization part which is the part that actually knows that within me was this part that needed to make sound and express. So we need to have that part now brought to peace as well, and let them know that there is no such thing as powerlessness, and let them know that, yeah, you can make all the sound in the world, and have them update with that this other traumatized part is okay now and that she's safe. So we need to embody the victim part and have that part feel into the part that got hurt when I was small and see that she's okay now. And then they can downgrade the sense of there being a victimization. Once you've done all of the parts work and you hear the neighbor making sound, suddenly it's very pleasant. There's no aggravations, there's no parts cracking off in old patterning. So I'm just giving you that example that will help you perhaps to work with random aggravations or triggers that can come up that are quite strong. Have a good day.